what do you think? First of all, if you just kind of like to explain to everybody what is actually going on in the South China Sea, some people might not know with the island building and stuff.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So look, happy to take you way back to day dot. Chinese government sort of gets discovered de facto building islands, right? They're dumping a whole bunch of sand in the sea. Then they subsequently started building airstrips and sort of mini ports, or not so mini ports as the islands grew. And they said, no, 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 this is for research purposes. Fast forward a few years, suddenly you see them being militarized. And fast forward a few years further, they say, actually, these are our military bases, and we're claiming a historical right to significant elements of the South China Sea. I would encourage your viewers to just type in South China Sea in the 9-dash line and just have a look at the map. It's a very significant area, significant for a number of reasons. One is, from China's perspective, I think they want to protect one of their major trade routes. So if you were to sort of do a traditional old-fashioned blockade just straight across the South China Sea, you would cut off huge amounts of trade, of freight, of shipping that really China relies on for its well-being. But that doesn't just go for China, of course. That goes for Australia. That goes for many other countries. So really, China claiming this area, and it's really equivalent to a land grab that you could, albeit in the ocean, and it's not too dissimilar, frankly, from what Russia's doing in the Ukraine, because it cuts into the territorial waters of not just one country, but several countries. So, and again, just in terms of more background for you, these historical claims have gone through multiple international tribunals and all been found to, not hold any water. One of the great, courageous policies that I'm very proud that Australia does, and we do this in collaboration with the United States, is we do what are called freedom of movement exercises, where we basically just fly over, or our ships go through territory which is apparently claimed by China, but really it's just a stretch of open, empty water. So I hope that gives it to you in a nutshell. But that is one of the great flashpoints for Australia and China. And China frequently uses both Australia's stance on the South China Sea and our stance on Taiwan. And every time we say something about the Uyghur Muslims or, Tibet, but nobody unfortunately talks about Tibet anymore, to basically do very serious economic sanctions against Australia. And I think for anybody really wanting to understand what it's like to be on the pointy end of Chinese foreign policy, just have a look at the raft of things China has done to Australia in sort of the last 3 to 5 years, ranging from, they don't call them economic sanctions, but really that's what they are. And that can be, literally you'll get a complete ban on all wine imports, for example, or timber, or they'll pick an industry and then they'll just cut it off, right? They also do a lot of hacking and a whole bunch of other scandals, which are really interesting, and happy to talk about those further. But no doubt you've got a few insights on what I've said so far.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, China sanctioning Australia never really made a lot of sense to me. It seems like they're doing it because they're trying to influence Australia to go, trying to bully Australia into going one way or another. But Australia is a huge supplier of raw materials to China. China doesn't really have a whole hell of a lot of raw materials. I mean, they of course have some. It's very large landmass. They got timber. They got some kinds of metals, but not really a whole lot of natural resources. There's a little bit of oil in a couple places, and they actually have one of the largest shale fields in the world. But hilariously enough, it's not actually explorable with today's current technology. It's way too spread out, and it's cut across different kinds of rock formations. So there's not really a current technology that could exploit it. But they don't really have the expertise to do so anyways. It's really just the Americans that know how to do the fracking. It takes a lot of chemical engineers and resource, or I guess it's mineral engineers to get a job like that done. And just other countries don't really have the same scale, the same supply. They don't have hundreds of thousands of people working jobs like that like we do. So China has to import everything, like, and then, they turn what they import into something and they ship it back out. So them going after one of their main, sources of materials and bullying them around is just not very clever.
Look, you're right, but the unfortunate reality is Australia probably needs China more than China needs Australia.
Yeah.
As like blunt as that is. And Australia is a great way for China to signal certain things to the United States of America without actually going at the United States of America, right? So Australia can be a little bit of a political football, which is sort of, we're not quite there yet, but I can definitely see Australia being that little middle ground between, getting beaten over the head by China, whilst the United States is, pushing us to put, more. We've got several United States Marine bases, several shared intelligence facilities. We've got AUKUS. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but that is a very significant partnership. Again, Australia got beat over the head by China for signing AUKUS, and for Australia's great submarine deal with the United States with the Virginia-class submarines, which we're very excited about. So again, it's quite relentless, and there have been several instances where almost every month there would be a news story broken in the Australian press, and it would be an unknown state actor has hacked all the universities in Australia and taken all the student data, or they've hacked some of our telecoms, or they've done this, that, and the other, and it was just relentless, and the messaging was so clear, right? And again, if your viewers are particularly interested to see what it's like to be on the pointy end of Chinese foreign policy, have a look at I think it was called the 14-point plan, where the Chinese foreign ambassador to Australia basically said, these are the 14 things we don't like about Australia, and these are the 14 things you guys have to change about yourselves and your 14 policies, right? It's very imperialistic, very, very authoritarian mindset, right? Which, Australia is a very anti-authoritarian and very sort of anti-hierarchy of any sort. So that sort of thing just rubs us all the wrong way and just leads us further down the garden path.
Hey guys, it's the editor guy here, and before you go, consider joining the Telegram channel and gain news from Ukraine, Israel, and world events around the world. First, all you have to do is scroll down to the description below, click on the Telegram link, and you'll have access to all news around the world. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy it. See ya.